In this video, we're going to be looking at the 4 biggest mistakes I've made as a kingdom entrepreneur. Now, just to frame this, right? It's a tough job picking out the top 4 because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mistakes. All right. But I would still rather go through the process of figuring out the top 4, put it down on a video like this, so that you can learn from me and hopefully you can save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars of mistakes and decades in the process, right? That would make me happy if you're able to not make the same mistakes I did, right? But I guess, after 27 years of business so far and tens of millions of dollars of revenue over that time, I've made a bunch of mistakes. I'm happy to teach them. And one of the things that I like to war against is I can't stand guru culture on the internet today. And it's not really an internet thing. It was around before it in the speaker world where everyone almost took this position of like, just talk about the things that work. And then they can, a lot of people who are speakers or coaches took that position of like, if I can convince you that I've got it right and you're broken, then you'll keep giving me money for my stuff. I am not interested in taking that position. Truth is, I've got a bunch of stuff wrong. I got a bunch of stuff right. And the things that I got right in business have over-indexed for me and been great. But the things that I've done wrong, I'm always willing to learn from and always willing to share. Also, the way I framed it is these are the biggest mistakes I've made as a kingdom entrepreneur. Don't be fooled. I've made a ton of mistakes too as a husband, as a father, right? In my fitness, so these are just the business ones, all right? But I feel like they will be meaningful enough that they will make your journey faster. I'm going to go in reverse. I'm going to go fourth to first, and that'll make you hang on to the very end of the video to wait for my number 1. So the fourth one out of my top 4, the one that was, I guess, the least mistake out of my top 4 was this one. I missed the mark when digital ads were incredible. All right. So obviously, I was in business since kind of 99 and saw a lot of things come and go over that time. When Facebook first came along, I guess it came along in 2004, but it didn't really become used by humans. It was only uni students. It was used by humans in 2007, which is about when I jumped on. And I was a pretty early adopter of, the Facebook friends era where you sent out you connected with 5,000 people and you communicated with them. Then Facebook brought out fan pages and business pages and you could get a bigger audience. And so through all of those years and like this month, I'm recording this in August 2025. It was August 2015, so 10 years ago to the month, that I started putting out content called Business Greenhouse TV. It's a different channel. If you go to YouTube, you can still find it. It's still there. And we put out a video at least once a week for these 10 years between then and now. And so all of that was to drive engagement on Facebook. And then in 2000 and late 13, early 14, they brought out Facebook dark posts.
Things which the eye has never seen, the ear has never heard, and never occurred to the human hearts, which God prepared for those who love Him.
You and I are going to walk streets of gold one day. And yet I find most business owners make their decisions on their own desires and their own goals. Why is it that we spend more time making our decisions on our own rewards, our own aspirations, our own outcomes, and we put very little time to eternity? See, Jesus told us that the kingdom of God is at hand. It's here. It's now, today. And through that revelation, we can bring that to today and change the way we operate. What would it look like if we built our businesses for eternity? What would it look like if we innovated our products and services for eternity? What would it look like if the way we handled our profits was for eternity? What would it look like if everything we built was for eternity? The goal of the Kingdom Business Summit has always been the same. We're building an army of kingdom entrepreneurs who, like leaven, go out into the marketplace like salt and light as ambassadors for Christ to bring about change. And so if we're going to do that, we need practical training. We'll be looking at sales and marketing and recruitment and leadership and finances. And we're coupling that with a deep understanding of the scriptures. How should we walk? How do we trade? How do we disrupt a culture and bring about kingdom change? When we put those two together, it's explosive. When one of those two is missing, nothing changes. And this year, we have the most incredible lineup of speakers who are going to be doing practical training, testimony, and supernatural stories of God's goodness in business. We have Shane Willard. He's a Bible teacher and has a wonderful revelation of the marketplace. We have Rick Leeworthy. His company, Hadar Homes, has annual revenue over $100 million a year. He also has great impact in the marketplace and a wonderful team culture. We have John Bevere, a global minister of the gospel who's authored over 20 books in 130 languages. John is a world leader on how to live a godly Christian life. We have Louisa Foster. Her company, Merchants Advisory, is a fast-growing professional services company. We have Kelly Lee, who's built a multi-million-dollar import and distribution business in the security space. And myself, Wes Hone, global business coach and property investor. The truth is, I want you in the room. I want you in the room with 1,300 other kingdom entrepreneurs who are there to do business God's way, to be trained, to worship together, to do ministry together, to network together. Why don't you join me for 2.5 days of practical training, and let's work together to build your business for eternity. In 2000 and late 13, early 14, they brought out Facebook Dark Posts, which is what they were originally called, which was their ad platform, where you could start to run ads to an audience and push your message into their newsfeed, right? And so in that sort of 2015, 16, 17 period of time, I was able to put somebody I didn't know in a conference room for $9 a head in ad spend. And it was because I was able to get to any small audience I wanted to get to. I was able to test 50 different messages. Like the platform was incredible in terms of reach and distribution, and omni-channel and the ability to do things like that. It were great days. Like I could run an ad with a headline and then, and a video, and I could say to Facebook, I want to push it to women between 24 and 28 who are interested in four-wheel driving, Dixie chicks and bull bars located in southern Toowoomba. And believe it or not, there'd be that audience. And then I could just go to those people. I could do that for anybody I wanted. Fast forward to now, that doesn't exist. The interest base is gone. The AI tools, the machine learning is still pretty good. Like Facebook and Meta ads and Instagram, they're still an incredible tool, but they're much, much harder and much more expensive than they were back then. And so this is why it was the biggest mistake, because I spent $130,000 on Facebook ads over a 2.5 year period, maybe closer to 3 years. That returned me $7.2 million of revenue, but I hedged my bets. I should have spent twice as much, 3 times as much, 4 times as much, 5 times as much when it was in front of me. But of course, the narrative is always, it's a fad, it's going to go away, it's broken, blah, blah, blah. And I fell, I didn't fall for the narrative fully because I still spent 130 grand, right? To drive that. But if I look back now, because it's gone away, like that ability to have that cleaner ROI is gone. And so I should have done more. I had the golden vein in front of me and I didn't mine it for everything that it could be for me. It's a huge miss, a huge miss. I could have had the same ratio, right? I could have spent 260,000 and had 14.4 million. I didn't do it. And so what's the lesson in that for you? Once you find something that works, absolutely maximize it and milk it, and do not leave $1 on the table. Because once you find something that works, it's only a matter of time before it doesn't work. So absolutely double, triple, and quadruple down on the things that work. The third biggest mistake that I've made in my entrepreneurial life is I didn't hire an assistant soon enough. So I did too much of the work myself. I was the one that was doing high-level tasks, low-level tasks, and everything in the middle. And I ran around. And at the time, it made sense. I was young. My conversation in my mind was, I'm saving a wage, right? And then and that's cool. But once I had an assistant who could manage so much of my day, I realized that saving a wage cost me millions, right? Because it meant that I had to do these low-level tasks instead of being able to go and grow the business and build the brand and pursue opportunities, right? I saved whatever back then, 70 grand a year for a really good assistant. Cost me millions because I used my time to do low-level tasks. Now, of course, there wasn't the availability like there is now where you can get virtual assistants overseas for a fraction of the cost. We didn't have that luxury, right? It was like a full-time employee or no one. It still would have been so much better for me to hire a full-time person that worked alongside me to be able to manage my diary, manage my inbox, say no to opportunities, make sure that I was incredibly efficient in the way that I worked. Someone to be able to filter what's going on around me. It would have been a game changer had I done that, and I didn't do it. So if you're sitting there right now and you're like, that's me, I'm spinning all the plates, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing everything from low-level tasks to high-level tasks. I'm like, you are the biggest stumbling block to the business. You need to get out of the way, and one of the greatest ways is to bring in an assistant. Now, today that could look like an overseas VA. It could look like a part-time person that works alongside you. It could be 2 part-time people that have individual roles. It doesn't matter. Or some of you just literally right now hearing this who have a profitable business. If you've got 7 grand a month of profit, go and buy yourself an assistant, right? That's what they're going to cost you. You may go to 0 profit, but now you get half your week back or whatever, and now you can really rocket the business, right? You need to hire an assistant and hire help around you as early as possible to get your time back, and I didn't. I did too much of the tasks for far too long in my early years, and it lost me an absolute ton of momentum that I could have had. The second biggest mistake out of my 4 as a kingdom entrepreneur is I said yes to way too many opportunities. If I be honest, I thought it was entrepreneurial to be involved in lots and lots of things. And it definitely felt entrepreneurial. It was exciting. It sounded good when I would tell people what I was in and what I was involved in. And everyone would be like, wow, that's incredible, Wes, that you're doing all of that. You know, as time passes and you look back, you go, hang on a minute, so much of that stuff went to zero. And it went to zero, not because the opportunity was bad. It went because it can't get the time and energy and effort it needs to do it in a meaningful way, right? So you actually need to learn to say no to most of the opportunities. Like as a kingdom entrepreneur, every time you say yes to an opportunity, you are by default saying no to something else. And in my life, the more business opportunities I said yes to, by default, I was saying no to my time with Kimberly, my time with the kids, my time with my fitness, my time with my friends, my time with the Lord, because you only have so much capacity. And once I realized that and I started cutting out everything, and I just focused on the work that the Lord has for me and doing that in a really meaningful way, I actually made more money, had a better relationships, right? Looked after my health. I was actually able to do better in business by doing less, because I could put the energy behind what matters and not get excited about the opportunity over there and the opportunity over there and the opportunity over there. And still today, having learnt that lesson many years ago, still today, when somebody says to me, can I talk to you about an opportunity? My default is no, because I haven't maximized the opportunity that I've got now. I'm putting out this podcast for Kingdom Business. 99.99% of the Christian business world have never heard of it. Why would I go and chase some other opportunity down the street when I could get this one to be 20%, 30%, 40% better than it is right now? That's what I came to learn. And there is more upside in working on what I'm working on and making it better than there is in hedging my bets and jumping over to all these other things, right? Staying in my lane and focusing on what matters. And so today, obviously, we have the Kingdom Business podcast. We have the Kingdom Business Summit, which runs in Australia and the US, one day the UK. We have our coaching businesses, and I'm helping 250 businesses build their businesses. Me and my team, support crew, hand-holding them through that journey, which I absolutely love. That's enough. Outside of that, I have a real estate company that holds assets and a real estate company that develops assets. And that's it. They take very little of my time. I'm able to take my profits from my business producing, put them into things that don't require a lot of time and energy from me, and have a great upside. And so just by running business and real estate side by side, I'm able to just focus on what we're doing and do it in a meaningful way. The number one mistake that I made across my entrepreneurial journey, bar none, and I see it across nearly everybody we work with, is this. Are you ready? You've waited a long time, so I appreciate you getting to this point in the show. Here's the number one. I added good people to my business. I didn't necessarily add the right people to my business. So if I met somebody and I was like, I like them, they've got good energy, they'll be able to play a great part in my business, I would bring them in. And nothing wrong with that as a strategy. The problem is it wouldn't necessarily have been the role that I needed right now. It wouldn't have been the exact skill set that I needed at that moment. And if I had been a little bit more considered in the early years, documenting who I want, exactly what they look like and what the deliverables would be, then I can find the right person for the role instead of just finding good people to join my team and trying to get a role to fit them. Made the mistake time and time and time and time again. Now documented, considered, thought through, and now I find the right people for the role instead of just bringing good people with good skills and good knowledge and good character into the business. First of all, they've got to be the right people, and then ideally they become good people too. But I made the mistake of finding good people, not the right people. And as soon as I started to find the right people, man, the business flew, the efficiency went through the roof, productivity, it was an incredible jump. But when I was just finding good people, like, oh, they'd be good to have on my team. They come from good family, they're blah, 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 bring them in. It was fractured. I had a bunch of good people and no tracks to run on. The minute I found the right people, I gave us tracks to run on, right? And that will get you further than just a bunch of good people around you, all right? That is the biggest mistake by far that I made, because building businesses is building teams. If you want to build past 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 10 million, you have to compile teams, a sales team, a marketing team, an operations team, an admin team. You have to compile teams. And if you're going to build enough teams, then you're going to have to find the right people and get past just finding good people and making them fit, because you end up with a team where half your people or more are square pegs in round holes, and you cannot go far enough like that. Well, that's my top 4. I wonder if you were to be vulnerable for a minute, what's your biggest mistake so far? Is it one of the 4 that I said? Is it something different? I would love to hear that from you in the comments below, or send me a DM. Tell me, what's the biggest mistake you've made so far? In fact, I'll go one step further. If you send me in direct message, wherever that is, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, you send me a DM of your biggest mistake, I will help you navigate it so that you don't make it again. I'll make that time for you. All right. It's been great hanging out with you. Love you.